righty then. You are live, it says. All right. Well, welcome everybody to, I don't know what we're really calling this. I guess all about AI and how it helps your business, I think is what we're looking for. And Francisco and I are going to just go over a few things that hopefully will help you guys use AI better in your business to make it better, to make it grow. So, Francisco, why don't you start off with everybody telling them about automations and how important automations are to making your business work?
Yes, sir. Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me, Mr. Rankin. So, uh, automations are a huge part of our daily life. I mean, if we want to start up, forget about the martial arts side of things, automate processes. And I always like to use this example of the fact that you can automate payments, to pay your water bill, to pay your electricity bill, to pay your gas bill. You can nowadays automate the um, monthly payments from your debit card to a credit card, right? So you can automatically make those payments. So we actually don't have to do it manually anymore. If we use that example now in the martial arts side of things, we've been using automations since day one, and the matter of the fact that, we have a lead that contacts us, via Facebook, Google, Messenger, whatever lead source is. And then we want to send them X amount of SMS or emails or even phone calls, where they could just literally, we could be present for them. We could just send them reminders, an appointment reminder, for them to book an appointment, so that we don't have to do those repetitive tasks over and over again. Those are what automations are for. We've been doing them for the past 4 or 5 years or so. And if you're a school, if you're a business that don't do automations, you sure have to get on top of them so they can eliminate those repetitive tasks, and you could just automate that process. Don't have to worry about sending the same text message, the same email over and over again. Let the automations do it for you.
And didn't we have recently somebody who, I don't know, it seemed like they were years ago that they interacted with one of the companies and then somehow managed to sign up into the program, and it was via automations.
Yeah, that's, I think, been the record. If I'm not mistaken, it was your school, Mr. Rankin, Apex Martial Arts. It was actually 33 months, okay, that it took a lead to book an appointment. Uh, if I remember correctly, the lead came in off of a Facebook ad. This was back in, I think, 2022, 2023, something like that. And then it signed up and went through the process. It went through all the automations. Back in that year, we didn't have any AI, so it was just workflows, automations, and manual work off of the agents, right? So it went into the Facebook ad. It went through the sequence. We didn't hear anything back from that lead, from that client at that moment. I think we posted this on our Facebook pages, okay? And nothing happened. The workflows continue. We have a couple of restart campaigns that after 90 days, if no actions, we'll send some additional restart campaigns. And the way we have our workflows configured is either you tell us to stop, to unsubscribe, or we'll continue hitting you, right? So anyways, the process continued. Here came year one, year two, and then the client all of a sudden, at 33 months later, they went into your website. Of course, they continued to see the social media posting, the events, the automations, and they went into your website. They automatically filled out a form, but this time we didn't have to automate, or we didn't have to AI, or we didn't have to do anything with them. It automatically booked the appointment. Why did it just automatically went in for the appointment? Because they had already 33 months of communication with that client, social media posting, your events. To be honest with you, I don't know if they ended up participating in any of the local events that you have in your school. But at the end of the day, it was the consistency on the appointments. I'm sorry, on the automations, on the text messages, on the emails, on the phone calls, the social media presence, and then of course the search, because that was an organic search. We can tell right there in the system that they clicked, they looked for you, automatically went in and signed up for the appointment. To be honest with you, I didn't follow up. I'm going to do that right now, and we can give the end result at the end of the day if they ended up becoming a member or not. But at least 33 months later, because of automations, because of consistency, they signed up for an appointment.
And that's pretty amazing that, a lot of times we expect that we go to an event, we hand out a flyer that, we're going to get instantaneous results. Or if we run a Facebook ad, we're going to get 60 new people that are going to come in the door, um, just because, that's what we expect. But the reality of it is that that's not anywhere near the truth, is that you constantly have to be engaging people, and they're going to buy when they get ready. But the key is making sure that you're ready when they're ready to buy. And what do I mean by that is that you constantly have to be giving them information about your brand. So if somebody's looking for an after school and summer camp program, and let's say their kid is 4 years old, so they're not old enough to go into your program today, you have to keep feeding them brand awareness and making sure that you're telling them about your company, your brand, where you're at, and how you're going to be able to solve whatever pain point they might be. And the pain point might be as simple as, I just need somebody to watch my kid while I'm at work. And if you can do that, then you have solved the biggest part of the problem on the planet. Now, I think, to keep in mind, automations is that there's different types of automations as well. So, for example, Francisco, we have when somebody opts into to a lead form, we'll just say it doesn't matter whether it's a website or an ad, uh, they go into a certain funnel, a certain journey, right? So what we're
Yes, that's
doing is
correct.
we're telling them everything that they want to know about prospects. So they're at this point they're a prospect, and it depends on where they come from as to how warm or hot that prospect may be. If they come from Google, they may have been actively searching you, so they're looking for a place to go. And if they're coming on Facebook, maybe they just saw something in their feed, a sponsored ad or something. But there's a certain automation, a certain story that has to go out to that person in that particular phase of where they are in their journey. And you want to feed them the information they're looking for. Because if I'm looking for, I don't know, let's say I'm looking for a new car, I want to buy a BMW, and I start getting information from Nissan, that's not going to impact me. We also know that every device we have in our house listens to us. So when you start talking about, or if you Google certain things, then you start seeing them pop up everywhere else. But we have to make sure we're giving the prospect the information that they're looking for in order for them to stay engaged with your company. And if you don't do that, if you don't have a good prospect journey, again, we're talking 33 months. I'm sorry, is that what you said? Uh,
Yes, that's correct. 33 months. We had some others,
that's
for like 10 months. Just to just a few weeks ago, 150 days it took. So I mean, it wasn't 33 months, but it's not a standalone case, that it took 33 months. But in your case, yes, I think that's been the record. If you ask me, 33 months.
Yeah, it is definitely not a what's the word I'm looking for? And it's just not an overnight process. But one of the important things that I think that most of us miss in business, and we're talking about any business here, so not just those that teach martial arts after school and summer camp, but we're talking, let's add Sarah. Sarah popped in here with us. Uh, Maybe I can add Sarah. There we go. Oops. I think I added her and then I removed her. Sorry, Sarah. Good morning. Good morning. I'm sure you were doing something that was way more occupying your time than this. But anyway, welcome. Um, but what I was saying is that you've got these different phases that you have people in, and we have to continue to be able to give them what they want as far as information goes within each of those phases. And in an automation, you have one for somebody who's a prospect. And at some point, that prospect is going to do what, guys? They're going to buy a trial, have a free trial, whatever the offer is, right? You guys with me? I'm sorry, I'm making sure we're still live.
Yeah. We're live.
Okay. So they're going to buy or they're going to get a free trial. Now, the prospect journey automation has to change at this point. You can't keep feeding them the same information about when they were when a prospect because now they've moved into a new phase. So now you have to tell them what's going to happen when they come into the class for their trial. How do they come in? What does it look like? What are they supposed to wear? What are the expectations? You may even have a video of what the your front uh, counter looks like. You might have a picture of the person that's going to greet them. I don't know what you might have, but you need to have something that takes them into that next phase. So now the person's there, they're in your building. We have to know whether or not they show up for the appointment, right? Or not. If they show up to the appointment, they go into a different journey phase. If they don't show up to the appointment, they go into a different journey phase because if they don't make the appointment, we want to reschedule them to have them come back in. If they do come in, they do sign up for whatever your trial might be, then you have them in your building for a certain period of time. Now you have to give them different information. You need to give them the information they're looking for. What are they looking for? They're looking to solve whatever problem they had for bringing their child, if you're a martial arts school, to you, whatever that might be. That's all they really care about. Now, they might see other things once they get involved that are kind of like, oh, wow, this is really cool. I want to, I want my kid to be able to be a leader and instructor. I want them to be able to handle themselves like that 7-year-old or that 9-year-old who's out there. Um, I loved it when the 10-year-old opened the door and greeted me with "Good morning, ma'am," and called my child by their first name. All of these things that you do once you get them in changes the phase. And the whole idea, of course, is now to move them from trial, whatever it is your trial is, to member. And once you get them to member, guess what changes again? The phase, right? So now you have to feed them the information that they want to hear about how your membership works. When are your belt testings? What are the costs? And don't hide those things, by the way. Go ahead and let people know what they are. That way, there's no ill will, there's no hard feelings, there's no I didn't knows, there's none of that stuff. And when you create a handbook that you can give to somebody, whether you actually physically give it to them or you do it through some sort of an automation, then they have all the information that is that they're looking for. Are they going to remember it? No. Are they still going to ask somebody who's sitting at the front desk? Yes. Are they going to have questions about testings and tournaments? Yes. It's all going to happen. But you also have already given them information that it is that they're looking for. And how did you do that? Because each time they went from one phase, you gave them a different set of information. Makes perfect sense to me. What do you think, Francisco?
Well, 100%. But what's actually more awesome is if all of those phases are automated, right? So
Yeah.
the lead stage, all automatically, automations, messages, emails, whatever. Appointment, automations. No show, automations. And when they, are for the trial, automations. Whenever they're a member, automation, right? So all those stages, because we may be able to handle 2, 3, 10, 15, 20 clients, maybe us personally, your staff, whatever. But can you handle 100, 150? Will you remember when each one is supposed to receive? Of course not. So, if we have all those automations in place, great. Let's go ahead and automate the process so we don't have to actually think about what we're going to have to send them, because it's all automatically going to be updated and sent with whatever workflow is it that you design. And there are lots of tools out there. I mean, the one that we use in Promax has the capacity to do that and much more. Which, we're going to talk about that. But lots of the clients that we have Spark, or they have My Studio or Sidekick or whatever. They have automations. It's just set them up.
Well, they have the ability to be able to set the automation up. And that's the problem, I think, is that a lot of school owners don't take the time to be able to create an automation. So I went through and I changed an automation that we were doing in Apex. And it took me hours to get it done. And it was, again, it's not a hard process, it's just time consuming. And a lot of times, business owners, again, whether we're talking about martial arts schools or if you own a restaurant, you just don't have time to be able to sit there and go, hey, I've got 3 hours today that I'm going to spend on working on a single automation that's going to take my prospect from phase 2 to phase 3 or phase 3 to phase 4 or whatever it might be. And what you have to realize is that a lot of people already have those automations set up, so it's nicer, it's easier when you're able just to go ahead and ask somebody, say, or pay somebody to go, hey, look, I need help. I need automations that are going to be able to work, that will continue to talk to the people that are interested in my program. And when that doesn't happen, man, that creates a real problem. All right.
Right, but you see, the way I see it, if I could share, it may take you
Sure.
2 3 hours to do it in 3 4 5 different days, but at the end of the day, it's all said and done. You don't have to worry about sending that text message, or you won't forget to send that text message, that email, because you've done it. Right now, you said it correct. You don't know how to do it, well, find a way to do it. Pay someone to do it. At least it's going to save you a ton of time, and for sure you're not going to forget to send that text message, that email, when XYZ happens, because it will be automatically already updated.
All right, and there's the key. You have to be able to do it, and not everybody has that opportunity. So one way or the other, make sure that you use automations in your business, because I mean, we're talking every time you miss somebody, you're missing 3,000. I don't know. In my martial arts program, you're missing almost $3,000 a year from a single person, and we, as a business owners, can't afford to be giving away a set or a series of $3,000 bills. If you miss 10 people, you miss one a month, that's $36,000 worth of revenue that you're missing. And if you're missing two, let's double it to $72,000. And that just doesn't make sense when you can solve that problem by simply creating automations or having automations that are going to be able to work for you. And you've got to be able to check those automations, right? Because if they're not working, you have to be able to tweak and change so that they're more effective. One of the things that I'm most proud about for the clients that we have in Promax is we are about to roll out a set of automations that will give the parent, who is the decision maker as to where the child is going to be able to go and take these martial arts classes, it'll give them just the information that they're looking for to solve their problem. And I'm sure we all know, but we may not pay that much attention because, again, automations should be different. At Apex, we have a 2 and 3-year-old class, and the automation that goes out can't be the same as for the middle school group because we have different pain points that the parents are looking at, right? So when I'm 2 and 3 years old, I'm worried about my child having meltdowns. Well, if you have a program that addresses that, or a prospect automation that addresses that for that person, and they're receiving emails and SMS and phone calls, then, and it's addressing that pain point as a consumer, it makes the most sense to me to be able to go to that company for them to be able to solve my problem. And at Promax, we have a set of automations there's 5 different automations for every age group: 2 and 3, 4 and 5, elementary, middle, high school, and adults. And they're all addressing something different in each of those age groups because each pain point is different. Again, the expectation as an adult is a lot different than when you're a 4 and 5-year-old. And we have that available. It's coming out to our clients this week. We'll have it available. So if you're a Promax client already and you're paying attention to this, be on your toes because it's coming to you. We'll let you know when it's ready this week. And if you want, we'll move you to that particular one. And my suggestion is that that's exactly what you would do. Because a parent, if they're worried about their child learning about confidence and being able to speak in front of a group, they're not as concerned about necessarily discipline. They're worried about confidence. And we can sit here and argue what the difference is between confidence and discipline, but as martial artists, there are distinct advantages to each one of those things. All right, anything to add, Senor?
Yes, well, I mean, automations are great, right? And a lot of martial arts school owners, businesses in general, have them. If you don't get them, we could certainly help you out with a couple of them, at least in the ProMax side of things, or show you, guide you on the process of building them in your side, right? But what about the combination, Mr. Rankin, of automations with AI? So you have automations going out to you, okay? Great, awesome. But you have them already set to go out at 10 a.m. each day, reminders, whatever. Awesome, congratulations. But what about the fact that you have AI there for you to answer inbound calls, to place outbound calls, or to answer any text messages, chat widgets, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever other source of communications that your leads are contacting you by? How is that?
That's a no-brainer because we're back to every lead needs to be contacted, and they need to be contacted via the platform that they want to use. So when somebody opts into your website, they may not want to talk on the phone. They may not read their emails, but they may want to text with you. And if they do, you have to have the ability to be able to do that with them. So, of course, one of the questions we ask is, what's the best way to be able to contact you? And that's how we do it. But we don't know the answer until we get there. So having the ability to be able to have an AI, a voice AI, make an outbound phone call as a follow-up, as a part of an automation is absolutely amazing for that to happen. We know for years we've been able to send emails and text messages, but this voice AI thing is new in a lot of ways, and outbound is brand new, and nobody has outbound voice AI like we do because we pioneered it in the martial arts industry essentially by being able to go to companies that had the ability to be able to allow us to do this, and now it's a part of our regular system of follow-up. And again, people don't want to talk on the phone. That's fine, but I do. Let me share some information with you. Let me put my glasses on so I can see because I'm looking at my phone and this is tiny. But we made this month through AI 122 AI voice outbound phone calls, and the contact rate or the answer rate was 30% of everybody who went out. And our live agents contact rate was almost 60%, so doubled. I'm not exactly sure why, but even at 30%, if 30% of the people that are being called, and I don't have to do it, it's done by a robot, it's done by AI. So I don't have to worry about, again, we talked about with the automation, I don't have to worry about remembering to do anything. It happens on its own. And the AI has the ability to be able to tell you everything about your program, costs, just so much information. And it has the ability to be able to send out links or, are you ready to register for the trial? It sends a link out. Do you want to go ahead and schedule your free class? It'll send a calendar link out. So it does all these things without you having to think about anything. And for me, that's a huge relief. And it's a relief on the team because it allows them to be able to do other things. For example, we have an event coming up at the end of October called Trunk or Treat. And what do we have? We have 67 people, 67 new names now that we are going to be able to market to, that we've been able to capture through emails that have been going out through our CRM. And we've got 375 views on that, which means although there's 300 people that didn't make a choice or make a decision on this, some of those 300 are still going to do that. How do you build your prospect list? Well, in things just like this, all I want to do is I want to capture a name, an email address, and a phone number. And if you're not using events like Trunk or Treat or Pictures with Santa or Pictures with the Grinch or whatever it is that you're doing, you really need to get on the ball to be able to do that. We need to have Scott Bailey here to be able to talk about birthday parties and how uh, how much money, how much revenue he did in birthday parties last year, and the fact that he's not spending money on marketing in a birthday party. People are paying him to market to other people via a birthday party, which I think is really a cool thing. All right, let's talk about voice AI for just a minute. So for us, we've had inbound voice AI for I don't know, since the beginning of the year, Francisco, or has it been longer?
About a year, yes.
So for about a year, we've had inbound voice AI, and the inbound voice AI answer rate on this last report is 98.27%. Um, as a uh, an AI person, my first thought is, what happened to the other 1.8%? Why did we miss those? And it can come from literally anything. An internet glitch, a phone glitch, a computer software glitch. It could be anything. But we're answering the phones 98% of the time with AI. For those clients that we have that we still use live agents, it's 99% of the time. So 1 to 2% is going to be missed. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing. Now, the problem is that when we do surveys of people who own martial arts schools that may or may not have after school and summer camps involved as well, the answer rate is more about 25% of the time. So that means you're only answering 1 in every 4 calls, where we're answering 99 out of 100. You're answering 25 out of 100. So what happens to those other 73 people? Well, if you're not doing a good job of sending them automations, first of all, they're just going to move to the next list on Google if that's what they're looking for. Now there comes up the importance of, why should my Google business profile page be up to date? I want them to be able to just do something simple like click on the button that says call. And if you can do that, again, it makes their life so much easier. Or I want them to be able to click on the button that says give me directions so that I can go and check it out, whatever that might be. But the voice AI, and she'll tell you, we've named her Zoe, and Zoe will tell you that she's a voice AI assistant, and she will answer just about every question that you can throw at her. We've had people who have called Zoe and literally tried to break her by asking her ridiculous questions, really. And the questions that she doesn't know, she'll just pass them on to a live agent. So she'll get to the point where, and she understands tone. She understands frustration, and will tell people, it sounds as if I'm not able to answer your questions the way that you would like. Let me transfer you, to a live agent. So having that ability with voice AI to be able to answer questions, send links, sign people up, again, without me having to do anything, is a game changer, both inbound and now outbound, right?
I'm sorry, say that again, sir.
Having the ability for somebody to make a phone call that I don't have to answer, that will send them links for signing up for trials or calendar links or birthday parties or whatever it is that you might have going on, is an absolute game changer.
100%. And I mean, like I said, you have the workflow acting on your favor, right? Helping you send those repetitive tasks. Now you have AI who's going to back you up when you're not around, because let's face it, yes, we have a business, but we have also personal life, and we're not going to be available 24/7. So automations work in your favor 24/7. Now AI is going to work in your favor also 24/7 to back you up. But you know what? The greatest thing that I wanted to also add, Mr. Rankin, the fact that you have, at least with us, in Pro Max, the third combination and the perfect sequence: automations, AI, and an expert live agent behind the scenes looking at after everything. I mean, I'm gonna have to say this, but there's no perfect AI system. There is no perfect automation. Things will break. I mean, Facebook is, how many times have they been down in the past couple years? So things break. So when that happens, the advantage is that there is going to be a live agent behind the scenes looking after your account, at least with us, making sure to correct that AI, making sure that we're going to follow up with that client and say, I'm sorry, that was an incorrect statement by AI, or I'm sorry, that was the incorrect schedule, or whatever the case is. This is a live agent. This is the correct information, So, I mean, to me, that is the best of three worlds: automations 24/7, AI 24/7, and live agent to make sure that they're there in case something goes down.
Yeah, that's amazing stuff. And this is my fault. I forgot about doing this. Is that Zoe is also bilingual. So Zoe, the AI assistant, will speak to you. When you speak to her in English, she'll return the answer back in English. When you speak to her in Espanol, she'll return the answer back to you in Espanol. And if you aren't, first of all, you need to Google. I wouldn't Google. I don't know. I Google almost nothing nowadays. But if you don't go into an AI and your choice, Chat GPT, Grok, somebody who can reach into the internet today and find out what the demographic of Spanish-speaking people in your market is today, you need to make sure that you reach out into that. And the Apex Martial Arts website has been bilingual for, I don't know, 4 years. And we have people all the time who are responding back in Spanish to the Spanish emails that are going out to them. So again, we're making it barrier free so that you're able to get those people that you're looking for to come in your door. And being able to speak Spanish at this particular stage of where we are in life is a vitally important thing because of the number of Spanish-speaking people that live in the United States. So Zoe has, again, another opportunity that Zoe offers that not many people have. I know I've lived here in Cozumel for 2.5 years, almost 3, and my Spanish is still bad. And if I was working at a call center and somebody called me and they wanted to speak Spanish to me about signing their kid up for a martial arts class, I wouldn't be able to do it. As embarrassing as it is for me to say, I wouldn't be able to do it. But Zoe can do it for me, and I wouldn't have to. The other part of that is, if you're a Pro Calls member, then you don't. That Zoe doesn't have to do it either. If something happens there, as Francisco said, there's a live agent that's sitting there going, "Hey, I'm ready. I can do this for you." And I think the next thing I'd kind of like to bring up is in AI would be custom GPTs and the ability that they have to be able to help us make decisions on things. So, how often? And I don't know. We probably should look it up. But we could GPT this. How many times do you think uh, people go into use an AI every day? I know I did some research about a month ago, and the number one reason, and this should really just blow your socks off, the number one reason that people would go into AI and use it is because they were looking for somebody to talk to. Can you believe that? We have isolated ourselves so much that
Wow.
we need AI to be able to talk to us so that we can have some sort of companionship. And if you don't believe me, look it up. I mean, it's there. And that's an amazing facet on the why part behind that. And the second part of this is that people are using AI now as their search engine. And again, I probably use AI to do my searches. And for my searches, most of the time I do use Chat GPT, although I've got a plethora of AIs that I use And if I'm not using Chat GPT, I'm using Gemini for my searches. You know, where that's replacing Google. But every once in a while, I still will do a Google search as well. What about you, Francisco? How's your searching coming? Which tools you're using?
I have not. I don't remember the last time I actually searched on Google. Um, I'm actually using 99% of the time, not 90% of the time, ChatGPT, and the other 10% Gemini. I've been using lately with all the cool new features that they come out with, images and all that. But no searches on anything outside of Gemini. As a matter of fact, I like to say this headphones that you guys will always see me in all my videos or whenever I talk to you guys or whatever. I bought them through ChatGPT. Okay, I imported them from India, I think it
You
was,
did.
at a staggering $30 that it cost me to import them from there. 150 hours of battery talk time. Okay, um, and it just came over there. And I don't think I would have been able to buy them directly through Google. They wouldn't have, come up with the result. So there's not a thing that I don't do that it doesn't involve ChatGPT.
All right, let's talk about this real quick here. So within ChatGPT, you can make up their custom GPTs essentially, and you can make them do anything that you wanted them to do just by training. But I just wanted to cover this with you guys. And this one actually, let's go ahead and change this. Let's change the model to GPT-5. All right, so now you can see that I created this in the past. I'm not saying it's going to be any smarter now, but as the AIs continue to develop, they do get technologically better. So the hallucination rate in ChatGPT-5 has reduced tremendously. The threads that you have can be longer within the conversations that you're having. But let's figure out something. So the Apex Summer Camp Assistant. Well, it says create a social media post to promote Apex, answer a parent's question about camp hours, and design a weekly schedule for ages 5 to 10. So let's just click on this one and see what it gives us. Answer a parent's question about camp hours and pricing. Now, this is going to probably be a little slower than normal because of my internet here. And this is also going to reflect back to the summer camp that we just had because that's where it got its information from. That's where it was trained. So it says that camp runs from May 27th to July 25th, Monday through Friday. Drop-off starts at 7:30, pickup is at 6 p.m. Will be closed on June 19th and July 4th. Pricing is $177 per week if you register by April 30th, $187 after that. Field trips are $20 each, and pizza days are $6 each. You can save your child spot at this link. Click on it, and it takes you to the page to be able to save the link. And here's the phone number that you can reach. And that's just simply at the touch of a button that it's able to give us this information. If I'm looking for something more complex, what would be something, Francisco? What would be something that would be hard that either a coach, a director, or a parent maybe would try to find out?
I don't know. Let's say the justification of a price range. Like for example, I mean, a lot of parents, think that whatever is charged is expensive. So how would you justify or the reasons why your program costs whatever amount? That's
All
always
right.
seems to be the number one question.
All right. So I just wrote, is this a good price for summer camp? What justifications would I give to the prospect?
Cool.
Let's see what it gives us. That's not a very good prompt, by the way. There's a much better way to be able to do that. For Warner Robins, yes, it's an actually very solid price for camp that runs all day. Here are the justifications: full day coverage included, no hidden fees, no hidden extended care fees, award-winning trustworthy program, unique activities, American Sign Language and STEM, optional and add-ons that are not mandatory, field trips and pizza days, early bird savings. So basically, full day coverage, safe and competent staff, award-winning variety, and a rate that undercuts or matches most camps in the area while delivering more value. So, I mean, those now what I do is I turn these into social media posts. I turn these into blogs. I turn these into emails. So I can turn each one of these into its own, whatever it is that you want to call it, that now is more information for me that puts my brand out there for more people to be able to see. It's just, I mean, this is there's a no lose situation in here whatsoever. Um, you do have to make sure everything is right. For example, right here, we talked about pizza days. Excuse me, pizza days aren't $6 anymore. We changed them to 8. So that's something that you have to go back and look and make sure that you go back and retrain when you make any changes like this to your pricing, whatever the days, the times in there. So this would be wrong. Summer camp's over, so it doesn't matter today. But for summer camp 2026, we're going to have to make sure that we go in and we retrain the bot to be able to do that. How do you retrain? You can do it a couple of ways. One, you can add to the knowledge base. Two, you can go in there and you can just type stuff into the memory. And it works perfectly fine. Either way, makes it simple for you to be able to do. Let me see. What if I wanted to create, let's see, create, oh, I can't spell. Create a parent handbook to give to our new clients or members. I don't know, whatever you call them. I can't type, sorry guys. Now, normally what I would do is I go through and at the end of that, I would say, hey, do you have any questions about what needs to be included in this parent handbook? And it's going to go through and it's going to list 1,000 things. And it's typing this stuff out in some crazy way right here. And I mean, you look at this and you go, hey, this just doesn't work at all. Can you make this in a copy and paste format? And then we're going to see what it spits out at us. But having the ability for AI to be able to create, I mean, you can create your automations that we talked about originally in all this. Yeah, look how this looks. Look how clean this is, and it has all of the same information in here. So everything that you need would be right here. And if it's not, then that just means that you need to add that to your knowledge base or to your memory. Here's the link to be able to sign up. So having the ability to use something like Chat GPT and custom GPTs, there's just not a replacement for time savings that it is that you do that. So in ProMax, I think it's safe to say, Francisco, that we all use AI in our everyday lives now. And when we create something, give us an example of something that you created recently that saved you time using AI.
Well, currently the way we are marketing the pinpoints, Mr. Rankin, what you mentioned earlier, all the pinpoints that we're going to be targeting based on the needs and the age groups and all that. I mean, that could have taken you on a manual way months, if not to say possibly a year, because things get caught up and then you start doing something else and all that stuff. It took you, I don't know, maybe a week or so, because you were the one who created it. But and not only that, but you see, the big advantage is things change so rapidly. So it took you, I don't know, a week or so to be able to finish it up, right? But then we've been building for about a month or so, which is the hard part, being able to implement now this on a workflow sequence combined with AI and all that stuff. Our dev team is doing it. But let's just say in a given month or so, things change, or you have a better idea, or you want to make some difference to it. You can go back to your Chat GPT channel history prompt, whatever GPT that you have, and it will have on the knowledge base the entire sequence of what you actually built, and you can make an adaptation in the flick of a finger. Okay, the dev team will now have to make that change, but at least, it's just, if you guys, watching this, if you guys are not using AI, you have to. I mean, don't be afraid to try it. Uh, you have to. I mean, it's just makes things a lot easier. People are afraid of it. People are against it. But it all depends on how you use it, and the huge advantage that it has over doing things, the old-fashioned manual way. I mean, like I said, months it would have taken you, if not to say a year, versus a couple of weeks.
Well, we probably at Apex, I would be willing to bet that 5 years ago we had as good a set of automations that covered the prospect journey as good as any other martial arts school in the world. And in order for us to get there, between myself and my COO at the time, we literally spent 1,000 hours creating all that and then putting it into the CRM so that it would work, because you've got to have triggers that assign tags, and the tags then will kick this off. And then at times tags have to come off, or you have to have another tag that triggers something else. So that's where you're talking about at the back end, that you have to have all these things set up in such a good way. And it's just so hard to do. It's so time consuming, but literally took us 1,000 hours to be able to put together the set of automations that we had. And it worked amazing. And what we did is we took those when we started Promax. We took those automations and then made changes to them when AI started to be a thing, and made them more relevant to, again, the client that we were looking for. And we've changed them probably, this is what, the third or fourth time we probably changed them. And each time we're making them better, more relevant to the customer and the client, so that they understand more about what goes on, that they understand how we can fix the problem that it is that they're looking to solve. Problem's not the right word. Pain point probably is the best one. And again, how it's different. We've created one for different age groups across the board, and there's 5 actually. So they get 5 to choose from. We could make 10, and we still may. We may add 5 more, but at least then at the school, at your business. And again, this just isn't about martial arts after school and summer camp, but it can be about any business whatsoever. But what it is they're looking for. So if we have a customer here on the island in Cozumel who has a very upscale steak restaurant. Is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah.
And if they're using the tools right, they're able to know what I like when I walk in the door. And if they were good, they would know that they would come over, they would know what I drink, they would know what I eat based on my past experiences there, because they can look me up quickly and see that. Or maybe because you make a reservations, they're going, okay, so Doug has a reservation at 7 o'clock tonight. All right, so let's pull Doug up in our system and see what it is that he bought last time he was here. He bought a ribeye and he drank an old fashioned. Just making this stuff up. So as a server, when I come to that table and I see Doug, I should automatically just ask him, would you like another old fashioned like last time? Are you interested in ordering the ribeye, or would you like to order a New York strip this time? So AI gives you the opportunity to be able to work closer with your clients and solve the pain points that they have at the time. Is this solving a pain point for me? Absolutely, because now I don't actually have to decide anything about what I want to order. He says ribeye or he says New York strip, and I'm automatically going, you know what? One of those two sounds really good. Maybe that day I wanted a filet. I don't know. But chances are, because of the offer that was made, I'm going to take it. And that's part of what we have to do as far as training goes for the consumer. So our consumer in a martial arts class is the parent, and we have to be able to show them the value of what our program does, and we need to show them that it solves the reasons that they're bringing their kids there. And once we do those things, everything else is a piece of cake. All right, I got one more thing I think, Francisco, that I want to touch on, and that's going to be in AI, the uh, the app that we use in Paragon. So, if you're not familiar with Paragon, Paragon is an after-school and summer camp program that we have created that literally takes you from the very beginning. If you've never run a business ever and you wanted to do this, it would tell you how to start off getting your LLC, or whether or not you should be an S corp, how to get an EIN number, how to do registrations for your business credit, and just literally from the beginning, it shows you how to do everything through the courses. And we have this for both after school, summer camp, school holiday camps, um, training. It's just there's more, and we have more that are even going to come out. We're going to take these things and be able to do this with dance programs and cheer programs as well, that you want to add in to create extra revenue. But the key the key component that is going to make Paragon different than any other after school and summer camp program that exists, at least at this point to my knowledge, is that we have an app that we've created that does everything for you that we used to have to do on paper or remember to do. We have to set an alarm on our phone for it to go off to be able to help us remember to do these things. And on the app, it tells you, let's say it's an after school program. It on the app, you go in there and you'll have everybody's name who's a member. And this works, by the way, for a school that has 180 or 190 after schoolers they pick up every day. So they create the routes, and sometimes because there's so many kids, they have to have more than one van or bus go to a school to pick up a set of children. So it breaks it down so that you know which children you're putting on your van if there are kids that are going to the same school. Most of us that have after school programs don't have that problem, but it's amazing that the app is able to solve that for you. The app also will send automations that says, hey, your child has been picked up. So it's out there, it's easy to go. While your child is there, the app is set up so that it gives them a score on their behavior that day. It tells the coaches when that child, if they're a crossover and they do more than one program at your particular location, it tells the coach what time that child's class for the other one is. So let's say you're in after school now, but you have a 5 o'clock martial arts class. It tells the coach that Doug has to be ready to go to martial arts for his 5 o'clock class. You don't have to remember it. You don't have to write it down. You don't have to set an alarm on your phone. It tells you. It automatically notifies you that this is the, Doug has to be ready at 5 o'clock for his martial arts class. It tells you about medications. If I need a certain medication at a certain time, it's going to go off in the app and it go, hey, Doug needs his medication. So I need, for me, I'd be like, I need my shot of tequila, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So, I don't know that the coach would actually do that, but anyway, you get the idea. You get your medication and it's all taken care of. Probably there's two other cool things that are in this app that make life easier. I'm only going to tell you about one of them though right now. And that one is the pickup process. So in the old days, we had to have, again, paper where a parent, when they came in to sign their child up for after school, would write down, these are the 3 people that are allowed to pick up my kids. And you have to be really careful with this because there's so much liability that is involved here, between, divorced families, husbands or ex-husbands and ex-wives who don't get along, those that have certain days that they have custody of the child, those that have certain weeks. You have to be able to keep track of all that. And the idea of having to do that in a folder and written down on, let me go find Doug's file. I got to find Doug's file. I've got 190 kids and I've got to find Doug's file to see if this person is allowed to pick him up and take him out of here today. And the app automatically will send to the person that is picking them up a code. So it's like Uber. It's exactly like Uber. If for me, I have my Uber set up so that when I get there, I open the door. Usually they'll have the window down, and they'll go, "Are you Doug?" And I'll go, "Yes." "Are you Luke?" "Yes." And Luke goes, "Hey Doug, what's your 4-digit code?" And Uber sends me on my phone a 4-digit code, 1237. And I tell Luke 1237, get in the car, and I know I'm in the right car, first of all, and that I'm going to be well taken care of because of the reputation that Uber has. Well, Paragon has mimicked this in the pickup process. So now you're given a code that you have to have matching codes. So it doesn't matter who picks the child up. It doesn't matter who you have written down. Let me back up. It does matter who picks the child up, but they have to have the code in order for that to happen. And it could be somebody who, I don't know, it could be uh, Auntie Sue, who just happens to be visiting, and that's coming to pick up that child that day. And Auntie Sue has to get the 4-digit code. Well, how does she do it? We've got to make sure we send the emails or the messages to the right person so that they can transfer the code over, of course. But it's easy to do, and we don't have to go through the process of picking up the phone and trying to reach you at work, so that we can ask you, is Auntie Sue supposed to be the one picking up the child today? So I think that's one of the coolest things, is that Paragon technology is superior to anything that is on the market today for after school and summer camp in so many different ways. And these are just a few examples of what that looks like. And it's again, we're talking, there's a lot of AI that was involved in building this. As a matter of fact, every course I think that we've created, we used an AI to create the course itself. So it saved us time, effort, energy, and money to use AI to be able to create the course. And what I mean by that is, when we created the course, we of course had to get it all down in writing, because that's what you need to do. And in order for us to turn it into a video, we just took the words, put them into this CRM or the software, and it created the video for us. And it's just amazing how AI is working for us today. It's in my opinion, it's not taking jobs away from anybody. It's taking effort away from people, and it's allowing them to be able to spend more time doing more things that AI can't do for you. AI can't take flyers to a festival for you. And if I'm constantly on my team in martial arts after school or summer camp about, hey, you need to have this done in software, or follow up with prospects. And trust me, nobody likes to follow up with a prospect with hi, this is Doug at Apex. I saw that you were interested in our martial arts program. How old is your child? Well, AI already has all that information. It knows when it makes the outbound phone call. It knows all of this stuff. So anyway, I think we've on for almost an hour. I think that's plenty of time. We can kind of wrap things up. Last thoughts, Francisco?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to try it. This is no longer a luxury. It's a necessity, to be honest. It's present, it's here. It's no longer a future. Go ahead and use it. Just start by exploring it. There's no way you're gonna be able to break it. I was explaining it to my mother the other day, saying, just go ahead and do it. Just ask it a question. And off of that, you start, just mouthing away and just wondering on what it can do. There's not a thing that it cannot do. So don't be afraid to use it. Go ahead and combine it with your automations if you already have some set up. If you don't, definitely set up automations. You need some help. We can help you on the process. If you would like to also combine it with live agents, make sure that you reach out, and we'll be happy to help you and assist you with all that. And definitely, take a look at Paragon. Paragon is super, 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 super on steroids when it comes to the after school and summer camp side of things. It will take you from 0 to 100. It does the entire complete business model, not just coaching, not just mentoring. It takes you one step at a time. And that little app that they created with the notifications, with the password and everything, is just mind-boggling. I mean, it's just amazing. So don't be afraid to give it a try. You have any questions, need any further explanations, we'll be happy to discuss them with you. And if you need anything at all, just go ahead and reach out.
Hey guys, AI is our future, and as Francisco said, it's here now. So get familiar with it, get comfortable with it, use it, and if you can't do it, then you need to find somebody who can. And we would love to be able to help you if you need help with something. I've probably created, I don't know, 20 custom GPTs myself for various things, including on how to write books, how to use them within my martial arts program, my after school program, my summer camp program. There's just a list of things that I've done. I've written them on. I have one about dreams. If you have a dream, and I don't remember very many dreams, but if you take your dream and you put it in there, it interprets the dream for you, and it doesn't not just by basics, but it asks you questions like a dream that Francisco has. If they're similar to a dream that I might have, they're going to have different meanings because of the cultural differences between his historic culture versus my historic culture. And I've created ones that my team is able to use back in Apex. That if they have a toddler that is behaving in a certain way, and you don't know exactly what to do, which you've got the training process, you've been through all the videos, so you know what it is you're supposed to do, or you know where you can go and look. But this is an easy catch on my phone where I go to that custom GPT and I go, little Timmy's crying because Bob won't share his toys with him. What's the best way to be able to redirect him? And then it's going to give me the answer in seconds. So while I'm taking the time to kind of get Timmy and Bobby to move away from each other, ChatGPT is giving me the answer to what it is, or the best answer, some of the best answers that I'll be able to do to take care of them. Whether it's redirection, whatever it might be, it's given me an alternative to me. Just in my days, it would have been simply just to yell at one of the kids and put them in a corner, send them to the director, or whatever it might be. But as a coach, it gives me a different tool to put in my toolbox to be able to use, to be able to solve these problems. And the same thing is true for those on the martial arts floor as well. If you've got a child who's just not paying attention, we know the ways that we've been taught already on how we're supposed to be able to get that child's attention back. But maybe there's a better suggestion that we get through ChatGPT on there. And once we get that, what we do is we update that into our ways to be able to refocus children. And now it becomes a book. What can we also do with that? Well, we can turn it into a blog, we can turn it into social media posts, we can turn it into all of these things that bring brand awareness to our companies. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys joining Francisco and I this morning on AI. The point of this is don't be afraid of it. Make sure you use it. And more importantly to you, we wanted to express the importance of using AI in your everyday life. And if there's anything that either of us can do to help you, Scott, Sarah, it doesn't matter. Just let us know. We'll be happy to give you a hand the best way that we can. And look forward to seeing us again in another couple of weeks. We'll do another one of these webinars. Try and keep it shorter than an hour because I like to talk. Sorry. Maybe we'll be more focused, and we're just going to talk about voice AI, or maybe we'll just talk about automations, or maybe we'll just talk about whatever it is. But we'll narrow it down so that we're a little more focused on what it is that we're offering for you. On that note, anything else, Francisco? Did we miss anything we wanted to talk about?
No, I think we got it all. But reach out if there's anything specific you would like us to talk about on the next set of webinar that we're going to do. Just go ahead and let us know. Send Doug a message, send me a message, Sarah, whoever, and we'll dive into it. As a matter of fact, if you would like to participate in it, we'll send you the registration link so that you can sign up and we can, just collaborate.
Hey, sounds good. All right, guys, thank you so much. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. If there's, again, anything that we can do, let us know. Contact information is simple. You can go to promaxmarketingagency.com. Phone number's on there, or if you want to send any of us a message, it's either Doug at promaxmarketingagency.com, Francisco at, Sarah at, Scott at, just Pilar at. It doesn't matter. Just send us, and we'll be happy to help you any way we can, or contact us through Facebook. So again, it's the ability to be able to use different platforms to be able to contact people. And again, the one that's comfortable for you is the one that we'll use. All right. Well, we'll see you guys here again in a couple of weeks. Have a fantastic week, and thanks for joining us. We appreciate that.
Hey, guys.